This session is Summon Basics 2. And Taylor, if you want to introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah, perfect. My name's Taylor Shafkus. I'm a software success consultant here at Ex Libris. And today, if you were with us last week, we went over Summon Basics Part 1, went over the Client Center, how to activate your subscriptions there. Today, we'll be doing Summon Basics Part 2, which is basically going into detail about the Summon Administration Console. We'll talk about usage reports as well, how to access those, why you'd access them, and talk about some features that you can customize with Summon. All right, so with that, I will go ahead into our presentation. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining. Like Devin said, feel free to ask any questions in the chat as we go along. So, what did libraries request? So the reasoning behind this presentation today is some of you, may be newer to Summon, maybe you've just completed your implementation and now things are up and running. You want to have a good process in place and really know the ins and outs of Summon, the Client Center, the back office, and even how to get usage reports to report on how your patrons are using Summon. So what you guys requested was a detailed tour of the Summon Administration Console, look into some helpful Summon usage reports, and also with those reports, how can we manipulate the date ranges with them? And also, what are some of the key out-of-the-box features that you can use to customize Summon for your library? So our agenda for today, I'll do a little introduction about myself and the greater software success team as a whole. Then we'll go ahead and do a live demo and tour the administration console, going over the different tabs inside of it and how it can impact your Summon. I'll show you, I'll show you where in the administration console to find these settings, how to change them, and then give you a little snapshot of what that looks like in your live Summon site. Then we'll go over Summon analytics and usage and talk through, if we have time, some customizable Summon features. And then, of course, leave a little bit of time for question and answer. So session should run about 45 minutes if we plan this right, but I want to make sure I'm keeping a good pace so that you guys can follow along, especially in the usage portion of today's demo. So a little bit about the software success team. So how we work with customers, we love to do strategic and consultative partnering. We will partner with you to help you identify any goals you have with someone and how to achieve success in alignment with your vision and with the help of our software. So some specific ways we can do that is provide technical and adoption strategies, also that consultative expertise and customer advocacy. So always love to relay feedback from customers like you back to our product support teams, etc. And a good, interesting fact about our team is some of us have been helping customers since before 2012. So we have a diverse team with a knack for library workflows. So if you see on the left-hand side, I'm one of the contacts you can reach out to in terms of customer success with Summon. But your primary contact is Christina Braun. She is another member of the software success team. I think on the team in total, there's about 12 of us. So me and Christina, I'm personally based out of Chicago, Illinois. She's based out of New Jersey, but we kind of work on things as a team effort. So that's a little bit about how we can help you succeed. And now I would like to go into the live demo portion of our time today. So first, I'm going to show everyone how to navigate to the Summit Administration Console. If you were with us last week, we talked about the Client Center, right? So this is where you're activating databases, subscribing to your holdings so that they're showing up in Summon and they're discoverable for your patron. But now, last week we went over this manage your data section, talked about management tools, business intelligence tools and reports you can use, and even some administration settings like manage your library. So if you're interested in finding out about those features, I would go back and view the recording from last week. And today we're really going to talk about this section of administering your products and specifically the Summon Administration Console. And I just want to note I'm using a demo account. So yours may look a little bit different. You won't have all these check marks here on the left-hand side. You'll have only the products you're subscribed to. You probably won't see this here and some of this here. So just to note that things might look a little bit different. But as you can see, you definitely will see this 360 core eJournal portal and administration console, and then 360 link administration console and Google Scholar setup. I just want to note, we won't be covering this today because we'll just be really focusing on the Summit administration console and usage. But Claire has a really great video called Customizing Your Summon Interface found on the Summon for NC Live Libraries page. So if you're interested in how 360 Core and 360 Link admin consoles work, I recommend you after this session, go ahead and check that out. But for today's purposes, we're looking at the Summon Administration Console. So I've already pulled this in. All you have to do to go to it is you log into your NC Live Client Center and click the link to Summon Administration Console, and it'll bring you in to what we call the admin console for short. And just for demo purposes, I already have this brought up. Sometimes, I mean, there's a lot that goes on here, so it takes a little bit to think sometimes. So basically, as an overview, the Summon Administration Console is where you configure really the look and feel of your Summon site. So if you ever have any questions about this question mark is wonderful for contextual help. If you click on it, it'll bring you to a detailed knowledge article page that literally details all the settings within the administration console. So if you ever have questions or if you want to dig a little deeper, I suggest going there. So basically, the settings you can change in the admin console directly affect the look and feel of your live Summon site. So obviously, if you're a patron, you're coming in, you're searching for different content. This is what your patron sees. And as you can see, we have a couple different sections, right? The left-hand side, there's some nice facets and filters they can filter down on. In the middle here, you have, of course, your search results. And if I scroll down a little, you know, these search results have certain things attached to them, right? So I see this cool wheel here. This is something we call alt metrics that I'll go into later. You know, you can save items. There's things like open access indicators. And these are all configurable in the administration console. Another piece to our Summon site is the right-hand side, which is where you can enter in custom panels. So this is all customizable for you. You can see you can add updates from the library here, talking about how to, you know, authenticate in if you're off campus. We even have the topic explorer. So if I'm referring to the custom panel side of things, that's this. This is your search results, and this is like facets and filters. So anything that you change in the admin console, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to go live in your live site. So it's honestly very quick and easy to do if you're, you know, coming in, activating new features. So one of the reasons you might be in the admin console is you're following along with our quarterly release schedule. So for Summon, we have a quarterly release schedule where we come out with new and exciting features that are designed to enhance your patrons' experience. And sometimes they're automatically applied to your Summon user interface. Sometimes you actually have to come in here and toggle them on. So for example, I'll just go over how to toggle something on right now. So say I wanted to turn on, and this is something that happens a lot. So search results is a very common area where people will go into, say this new feature, these are all on, but let's say display HTML quick links was toggled to off. How we would turn it on would be literally just toggling this off button to on and saving those settings. So that's how you activate things. It's very easy, very user-friendly here in the administration console. And now I'm just going to kind of give you an overview and a tour of what these top tabs mean, and then of course what these side tabs mean as well and what they affect. So if you're looking to the general, so first off, we're in the settings tab of the admin console. These are all the settings you can choose from to look into on the side. If you're looking under general, these are used to modify your search page display. So you could see we have your home link, a feedback address. So if there's anyone who's submitting feedback, it would go to this address. There's some other things you can get into. If you are tracking things with Google Analytics, here's where you would find that. But in general sense, this is just to modify your search page display. We go to the search results tabs. This is primarily used for search results setting and to modify settings associated with the search results. So we have really cool settings like citation counts display, show permalink, citation trail. For example, citation trail, you can see that here. So this is your search results, and you can see here citation trail. Citation trail is really just saying, okay, this piece of content has been cited by or cites another piece of research. So the things that are appearing here in the search results, typically you'll find them here under search results. So citation trails is a good one. Another good one is display PDF quick links and HTML quick links. These quick link features allow you to embed links into the PDF and HTML full text directly into the Summon results page to provide you with a convenient and quick way for users to access full text with a single click. So let's see if I can find a good example. Bear with me a moment. All right. So as you could see, some of these other examples, you have that full text online option. But here, you see this little cool PDF radio button that says direct link to PDF. Once you click that, it directly pulls up a PDF. So there's no additional clicking or authenticating through. So this was a newer feature that we had come out in our recent release. And it was actually one where you have to come into the admin console and toggle this to on. For demo purposes, it's already done, but I'll go into this later. It's one that we do recommend. Another thing we have toggled on is our peer review indicator. That just shows when an item is peer reviewed, marked as peer review from, we're pulling that from Ulrich's Web, I believe, or so let's see if I just go ahead and, for example's sake, filter by peer review. Here you can see that indicator. So I really recommend you take a look if you're just getting started. Click on this help icon, and that is going to take you into all of the settings you have available to your patrons. So, all right, next up would be Quick Look. This section is used to configure the settings associated with the quick look pane. So for example's sake, if you just, quickly hover over a piece of content, let's see, over here, quick look, it affects settings here. So also logos. So this is where in the beginning of implementation, this is already probably set up. This is where you'd update and replace your institution's logo. Subject terms. This subject terms section also allows you to configure the settings associated with different subject terms. And authentication. The authentication banner actually provides a way for remote users to sign into your library's single sign-on system so that they can access that full text content as well as IP restricted resources. And this banner is one that displays at the top of the summon results page. So it's out of here. Typically, we don't actually have one in the demo environment, but it would say like, for remote access, use this username or whatever it may be. So that's where you would go for if you're wanting to change things on the authentication side of things. For facets, pretty self-explanatory. It controls the display order of your facets and filters that appear on your search results page. So you have the configuration option to enable these, disable these. All you have to do is just slide it over. It works like that. If you wanted to keep this enabled and just change the order, make sure to do that. And then always save your settings when you're done. And that will affect this left-hand side of your summon user interface. All right, next up is RefWorks. So this section configures the URL that Summon uses to export your records to RefWorks. And if you want more details on that, we have a really cool knowledge page on exporting search results and saving citations. Syndetics over here. So the Syndetics subscription, it's a subscription service. So it provides enriched content such as like awards, table of contents, book cover images, and more. So these settings really only apply to your institutions with the Syndetics Classic, maybe Syndetics Plus, or Syndetics Unbound subscription. The default setting is usually off. So if you don't have those, off is where you're supposed to be. But if you do, here's where you would come and configure that, enter in your ID, etc. Languages. So this is alternate user interface languages that are available to your users via a drop-down menu that displays within the menu on the right top corner of the summon results page. So it would be up here under language. You can configure, if you didn't want to support certain languages, or maybe yours is configured in a way that some are more are disabled, you can rectify that here. And of course, press save. You can also change your default language. This participant record prioritization section. So for libraries using like, say, union catalogs in Summon and libraries with multiple locations, this is a feature that lets you specify which record appears as the main or prioritized record within a merged record. And you can prioritize your records by dragging and dropping from the unordered and ordered list and just dragging up and down like we did with the facets, prioritizing what comes up in Summon until it's prioritized to your liking. All right, so citation formats. Citation formats is used specifically to indicate which citation formats are available to your users in the user interface. And advanced search. This is another one that's pretty popular. Advanced search basically, you have this is where your students are doing an advanced search. So if I go to, let's just search something, new search. It's just popping up. Options, maybe. Here's your advanced search. So those affect that. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry, I've lost my place. Refine your search. This is also one of those where you can go from enabled to disabled. You can choose which filters you'd like to have in the refine your search section. So if you guys are indexing your library catalog, we have a cool new filter that is the ability to differentiate between physical books and ebooks. So if you're in the UI, you can see this on the left-hand side once it's load. If a patron's looking for just a physical book in the library catalog, it'll show up here. It's important to note that enabling that, it's a kind of a two-step process. So I would encourage, if you're interested looking into physical books, to Google, Summon Administration Console, physical books versus ebooks, and it'll give you instructions on how to do that. It's just because we have to go through an index refresh and make sure your catalog's working properly before we can turn the filters on, just to make sure that functionality is exactly what you're looking for. So that's refine your search. Search scopes section, it allows you to define and manage your own search scopes. So when a user comes into the UI, you already have predefined search scopes so say you just wanted, when a user comes in, to have include matches to full text already clicked. You can actually activate that here in search scopes. This just came out at our summer release, so it's a new one. I definitely, if you're looking to try something like that, try it out. New functionality, works really nice. Next one, custom link. So this allows you to add a customized link to the upper right hand corner of your Summon interface. So it will display here. For example, here we've done a custom link of our A to Z database. So that's where you can find that. Topics, this is the topics section on the right side of the custom panel. If you don't like Wikipedia or don't like things coming up from there, you can disable it there. Resource, and these, so I'd like to say the most important settings here are generally search results, refine your search, and yeah, those are the two main ones. These ones down here don't really get customized as much. So I'll just briefly gloss over them. Resource link prioritization, if your library has rights to more than one resource with a direct link available, you may set the linking priority here. If you don't choose to set a priority order, the Summon service randomly links to a resource in the unordered list. The abstracting and indexing details page. This is for abstracting and indexing resources. You can configure things here with these buttons that'll show up, but yeah, so there's these two configurable buttons. Both support linking either to your library's ILL service or to the print record in your library's catalog. So transliteration, this is just turning on the display of non-Latin data in the 880 field. Configuration, this is read only. So what comes up here is just pulling from your IP ranges and your link resolver base URL. A cool one I will point out and hover over is chat. So if you want to enable like chat for your library's website, so for example, we have here like chat, chat with a librarian, this is where you're going to do it. So in the library's admin console under settings, all the way down here at chat. So you can learn about configuring chat widgets if you just do a search or, click one of these icons. But I can tell you we do support library help widgets, Spring Shares LibAnswers, Question Point, and also WhatsApp. So you can go ahead and enter in your information there. Summon 2.0, this section just kind of relates to the customization of your Summon 2.0 interface in the 360 admin console. That's that one that I noted in the beginning that Claire had done. There's another webinar on it called Customizing Your Summon. So it brings in some of that information into the administration console. Another one that's one of the features we recommend people to turn on is Altmetrics. So you can choose to have Altmetrics appearing in the search results, your quick look page, your detail page. It just really depends on what you're looking for. The search bar is just annoying. So it can appear here, it can appear here, right here, or even if you click into the full result, it can appear. So this is where you would toggle in those settings. If you are subscribed to Web of Science, the integration information is there. Same with the BX Recommender. This is also a paid subscription. So unless you have it, it doesn't really apply. Custom sections. This section configures the display of the custom panels in the custom panel section of the Summon UI. So this is important to know because we're going to be talking about the other tabs up here where you'll actually create your custom panels. But if you want to change the display order, so say instead of, you want the down here, what we call the topic explorer. If you wanted the topic explorer at the top, you would do so here under settings, custom sections, and here's where you would reorder those. And then this SAML, this is just if you're a Sierra over Summon customer, so we don't really have to go into that. So that is a lot, but that is all the settings under the settings tab. So a lot of the new features, they're just going to be hidden somewhere in here. So just follow along with the documentation and it should work well. Mapping. So yes, I'll just leave this. Yeah, make sure to always save your settings. We did create that bubble that says, are you sure you want to toggle away from this page? You didn't save yet. So if you did a lot of work on, say, like one of the, filters or facets pages, we'll warn you if you haven't saved it, because that was a request brought in by some customers. So we changed that for them. So this mapping pages, this just shows how your catalog's marked records fields and library location fields have been mapped to Summon in the Summon index. The next page, so this one is one you'll probably come to if you want to really get involved with the custom panels section of your Summon. First, you'll just land on this details page. You can use this details page to turn on and configure the optional display of catalog records within the Summon service. But why I'm really here is to go over our custom panel section. So custom panels, I'll just remind you again, are the whole right-hand side of your Summon. And there's really two ways you can create a custom panel. The first way is just literally creating it on the fly as is. Exactly how you create it is how it's going to look. So you'll do all your formatting here. And also if you wanted to add or embed like an image under tool, here's where you'll find source code. So you can add an image using that source code. One thing I will point out is you can create a custom panel so that it's always showing on that right-hand side. If you want it to always be showing, you would click persistent If maybe say you have a seasonal custom panel, so maybe for finals week, you wanted to add maybe or say it's winter break and you have new library hours. You can add in this custom panel and disable it and only have it enabled and persistent for say winter break when it's applicable. But so that's the first way. And obviously you'll want to save your custom panel. It'll display down here. So if I go into COVID-19 updates, you can see, they've just added information there. One thing I will add, so, you have the ability persistent, disabled, or you can also have a custom panel show up on the right-hand side. So say if you wanted to save space, you can have it show up when only certain keywords are searched. For example, COVID-19 updates, we have added the tags COVID-19 updates, COVID, coronavirus, etc. So if you want something to only show up when certain keywords are searched, you'll just create your custom panel, press save, and then when you come to it down here, here is where you'll add your tag right here. So that's the first way, just going at it ad hoc, adding things there. The second way is we have our bulk section importer. So you can import multiple custom panels at a time. You can also bulk delete them. So if you have a lot, or if you have someone else who wants to create these, someone else who knows code or things like that, you could just bulk import them. But that was really cool. I think that the tag usage is really smart. You can get really granular and kind of just nerd out about what you want to put in your custom panel section, because as you can tell, it's just a great area to communicate with your users, a way that the library can put out information that's timely, etc. Okay. Next, okay, so as you can see, the next tab is usage. We're actually going to go into this one once I finish going over the rest of these tabs, since there was great interest in usage. So moving on, translations. The translations tab is really cool. I'm a big fan of it. Not many people know what it's for. Basically, anything that appears in your Summon user interface, so like full text online, more options, cited by, you can actually change the verbiage of that. So say if you wanted, if we had, where's that direct link to PDF example? I think it's coming up right. I thought it was right. Okay. So direct link to PDF. What if, maybe that's a little wordy, it's taking up a lot of space on our screen. We just want to change this to say PDF. You go to the translations tab. You can even filter. So I'm just going to search PDF. And you can see that actually someone's already translated it. Originally, it was just displaying as PDF, but what you can do is edit it and put in what you would like it to say. So originally it said PDF, they've changed it to say direct link to PDF and then update. So you can do that with anything here on the Summon page. As you can see, there's a lot of fields available. Literally so many. So if you ever think something's too wordy, or maybe you just want to try it out, I would use the translations page. All right, next we have the recommender tab. So here is where you will customize your database recommender and best bets feature. So just to refresh your memory, the database recommender is here. As a patron does a search, it'll have a quick recommendation on a database that, if the student or patron's familiar, they can just go right into the database there. So you can configure what databases are active here. A best bet is it looks exactly like the custom panels section, but if you also want to save space on your custom panels section, and you want to maybe, instead of having your library hours here, you want to have it so that when a patron does a search like library hours, instead of appearing in the custom panel section, you can set up a best bet. It looks like the database recommender, but this is just like a custom, it's a manually created result is how I like to think about it. So it shows up at the top of your search results section. It's great to use if you don't want to take up space over here. So just keeping things kind of like, the tag, feature of custom panels. It's like that, but it'll appear up at the top. So here's where you can configure that. Same as before, what you type is what you'll get. You can also bulk import and also have tags there. So you can also remove or edit it in there. Okay. All right. Spring Share. This is if you have any Spring Share like integrations like lib answers, you can enter in your Spring Share information here. I'll just gloss over to content ingestion. This is important because one of the common maintenance tasks is running a full load of your catalog. And if you have a catalog with CC Link or NC Cardinal, your full loads are taken care of on behalf of the library. But if not, you'll periodically want to enter in a new load. Basically, to do so, you'll pick your collection under new full load notification. This is how you alert support. So you only need to do a new full load when you have, so updates and deletes happen automatically, but if you were to upload new records and you don't tell us those files are available and you don't tell us how many are expected, they won't be discoverable in Summon. So full loads remove the existing records and upload a completely fresh set. So you'll just click the collection, the expected number of records that is required, and then the file name. This is just if support runs into a hiccup, in order to not have to reach out to you, they can sometimes use this and figure it out themselves. But there you press process new full load and you can get status updates here. Okay, so that is the bulk. And so content ingestion report, this is just, you can add someone's email to be notified when that new full load and the new content has been ingested. So that is the bulk of the admin console. The main priority is changing things in here. Oh, my mouse went crazy. Will affect your main UI. Something I will note, if you ever want to test something out, you can use our preview environment. It's going to look exactly the same, except it's going to have a little red indicator that this is the preview environment in the top left corner. And I'll send in the presentation, there's a slide, it's hidden right now, but it gives information on how to view the preview from your library's site as well. So in the admin console, you can see here, we're in the preview environment. You can change as much as you want. And then basically you would just take out, or not take out, you would add preview to your URL .summon.serialsolutions, and it'll take you to your your preview Summon site. So I'll include instructions on how to do that in the presentation, but just wanted to note that for those of you who maybe want to test things out before having that affect your live site. So I'm actually going to go back to the normal environment and just pop back to my presentation for a second. So now we'll talk about Summon usage reports. So you can, sometimes they're referred to as Summon usage reports, Summon analytics, the OAS analytics suite. As you'll see once we authenticate into it, that's actually the formal name, but Summon analytics, Summon usage. So how can you use Summon analytics? Some people like to do an annual report on, simple sessions counts. Or you can also use Summon Analytics when considering interface changes. So you can drill down on information like how are your users interacting with filters? What are some useful searches we might use in testing? And then even subject specialist questions. And so I'll go into the demo, but I just wanted to make a note that slides are hidden because I'll be showing you the steps in the demo, but they will be made available after this presentation. So if you are following along and are saying, okay, whoa, this is a lot, I need to write these steps down, don't worry. Once Claire sends out the PDF, then you'll have access to exactly how to get there. So if you're looking for Summon usage statistics, you're going to first authenticate from the Client Center into the Summon admin console. Once you're in the administration console, you see here up on the tabs, you'll click on to usage. And it says click here to access Summon. Whoa. So I clicked it again. It says here, click here to access Summon usage statistics via OAS. We are going to click through and it'll bring us to the OAS Oracle suite where you can access all your Summon usage reports. So these are canned reports based off of popular things that you might want to know about with your Summon. So how are your patrons engaging, etc. This is where you'll want to pay attention. So it brings you to recently used dashboards and usage reports. We want to go to the catalog. So up on the right-hand side, you'll click catalog. Oh, I should not have done this. It won't show you this right away. So let me just click back. So it's because I was doing this earlier, just making sure the path was all correct. So you'll click catalog. You'll go over here now to folders and you'll click shared folders. Then you'll go ahead and click Summon. Then you'll go ahead and click usage. And then you'll go ahead and click reports. And this brings you to the canned reports where you can go into data on multitude of things. So again, I came up here to the catalog button on the right-hand side. From there, I clicked into the carrots of shared folders. I clicked into Summon. I then clicked into, and I know it's a little confusing with reports and usage, but you'll click into usage and then you'll click into reports. So a little housekeeping, you can export any of the reports in PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, Web Archive, etc. So I'll go into the details of each report and why you can use it. So action usage searches, this report details the number of searches conducted via facet filtering and basic searches. And for time's sake, I just want to now show you how to change the date range here. So as you can see, it only shows the last 7 months worth of data. A lot of times that's not really useful if you're, analyzing usage on a yearly basis. So what we see a lot of customers doing is editing the date parameters. And from here, it looks like, it doesn't really pop out at you. So I'll explain the steps of how to do so. So if say I want to get action usage searches for the last year's worth of data. Down here, I see a couple options. I'll go to edit. And I'll see the tables in a compound layout. But what I want to do, if you look to the top left-hand side, is edit the criteria. So right now we're on the results page. So I'll hop back over to the criteria page. And here's where you'll see under filters, the filters that are already applied. If you're familiar with SQL expressions, this makes sense. If you're not, it kind of looks a little like gibberish, but you can see we're only filtering on the last 7 months of data. What you do is you edit the filter with this pencil icon. And I like to do, you change the operator instead of is greater than equal to 7 months. I change it to is between, and you enter in your values. So I would like data between November 2022. You go up here and literally just enter in the date you're looking for and press OK. Okay, that looks good. I want data in between November 2022 and in between, and you'll press the little calendar icon again, November 2023. I'll say, okay, looks good. And the last thing you have to do, where you might get some error messages, is exit out of this already done SQL expression. So this is saying, no, I don't want that 7 months of data. I want a year's worth of data. So I'll press the X, and now everything looks correct. So we're going to get data that is between 2022 and 2023. Then you can go ahead and press OK. There's no need to edit the bottom one since we're doing in between. And so we change the criteria. Now let's pop back over to results. And voila. Now we have a year's worth of data. And if you want to save this, we recommend doing so. You can go over here to save as. It'll give you the option. I would say save this in my folder since it's your institution's folder. Every time, you'll name it action uses searches last year worth of data, etc. You'll press OK. And then anytime you come back to say your home or your dashboard, it will be there. So if you go back to catalog, you can find all the canned reports following that path we did, and I didn't save it, I should have, just for example's sake, but I didn't want to mess up the demo site. Or you can find it in my folders. It will appear here. So anytime you just want to come back on a yearly basis instead of doing the whole SQL expression thing, that's when you can do it. So I want to save at least 5 minutes for questions, but I just briefly want to go over the different reports and what you can find in this. So action usage searches, reports on the number of searches conducted with facets and filtering. The action searches weekly, that's just the same report as above, but on a weekly basis. Device usage, this shows which operating systems and internet browsers are being used to access summons. So are your patrons coming in from a mobile, Android, iPad, iPhone, etc. The weekly is just the same thing, but on a weekly basis. Facet usage is one of those that you might want to look into if you're deciding whether or not to activate a new facet, or do people use these? Should we get rid of it so there's less screen space? So it provides a view into the facets and filters, narrowing down on those search results. So it'll tell you usage by facet type, facet value, what facets are selected, and things like that. Facet usage weekly, same thing, but on a weekly basis. The popular searches results. This report displays a list of searches by default. The search conducted most often will display at the top of the report. So it's cool just to see if you're interested in what your patrons are searching. You can actually use these popular search results to inform you to go ahead and make a best bet. So a lot of people are looking for biology. Do I need to create a database recommender for biology? All right, let me make sure that that is in there. So you can make informed decisions based on these popular search results. Session usage, that is going to provide information on how many visits are made to summon. And then zero results is the last one I'll call out. This report provides a list of searches that did not return any items. So this could be useful for the library if you're looking for new content. Say someone looked for, Huckleberry Finn and nothing came up. Maybe you don't have that in your, catalog or subscriptions. It might be worth looking into purchasing that since people are looking for it. So that is the usage statistics in a nutshell. I know I tried to go slow, but there's just so much information involved. But the good thing is the slides that I'll send out show you the pathway of how to get to the catalog and also how to edit that criteria. So these steps are documented, don't worry. But at this point, I will pop back to the presentation. And really, the good thing is we kind of already went over these key features in Summon, but I'll just transition again. These are some newer features I want to touch on. The first one I recommend you taking a look into is that quick links in Summon. It allows you to embed those direct PDFs and HTML full text links in the Summon search results. Very quick and convenient for your patrons. They can access PDFs with a single click. And of course, the custom panels and best bets. You can communicate with your patrons via Summon. You can use analytics to get insights into what your patrons are searching for and give them additional information if necessary. And Altmetrics. Altmetrics, I'm not sure if I got into the explanation of it, but if you clicked the rainbow thing for Altmetrics, rainbow circle, it allows you to see how the world is talking about a certain piece of content. So how is this being talked about on Twitter? How is this, are people tagging this on certain websites? Or so it gives you analytics that, say if I'm a student working on a book report, or maybe, a student researching current events, and I want to see how climate change is being talked about on Twitter. Altmetrics is one of those really cool tools that's free and fun to use. The last thing I'll end on is just, again, that quarterly release schedule. Really recommend you following along. I have embedded a link to our release notes and also our latest Summon What's New videos. So this is where you'll be alerted of all those new features like quick links and Summon. So stay up to date with those, bookmark them so that you can really be a super admin managing Summon and staying up to date with things and really making it the best experience for your patrons. All right, and also when we send out this PowerPoint, here's some invaluable links. If you have questions with support, chat, feedback regarding how Summon can be improved. And, even if you have questions about what other schools are doing, share your questions via the listserv. It's basically a mailing list where we have customers sending questions, is your Summon, are you activating this feature? How is it working for you? People give feedback, product management gives feedback. And of course, those release notes, we have another link because they're just very important. And last but not least, if you want to explore Summon, go to our CKC. We have so many materials there regarding trainings, best practices, how to, what is this feature, and best practices and how-tos there. So at this point, we have 4 minutes. Any questions over the functionality I went over today, or just questions about Summon in general?
Thanks so much, Taylor. We don't have any questions in the chat. Folks, if you want to share those or unmute yourselves, or you're ready to head out on your Thursday, that's totally fine as well.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining.